So this video will cover some useful tools you can use while you're estimating. Now these tools are actually quite useful even if you're not an estimator, but the main reason I use them is in my job as an estimator. So I'll just run through, as you can tell by the title of the video there, I'm going to be going through PointerFocus and QTTabBar. Now PointerFocus, you can see here on the desktop, I have it, usually I'd park it about here, but you can minimize it with this button here, and it has some really nice features. Now the reason I use PointerFocus, and if you're an estimator, you have this similar setup to me, you will find this very useful, because I regularly lose my mouse pointer on the screen. And that's easily done because I'll just show you my setup here, display settings. I've got my laptop screen as number 1 there. Number 2 is actually a 42-inch monitor, so I use that for looking at drawings. And number 3 here is I think is a 22-inch monitor. Again, I'll use that for other things too, but the main reason I have a 42-inch monitor in front of me here is for looking at drawings, large drawings, architectural drawings and so on. And I need to do that to price from those drawings, give estimates. So that's why I will lose my pointer sometimes. At a glance I won't know which screen it's on or whatever, but with PointerFocus, as you can see that green ring around the pointer, I just give the pointer a wiggle and at a glance I can tell which screen it's on and where it's located. Now Windows does have built in some features to help you locate your pointer. So if you go to the control panel and you look at the mouse options, I can find the mouse here. The mouse under pointer options, you have a couple of things here. First thing, I do use it from time to time, but if you press control, you see it gives you a location of where your mouse pointer is, but I don't like that. I'm not sure why I don't like it. Just sometimes if that's on a white background, it still can be hard to see, because a lot of screens like large windows have white backgrounds. So I do have that set to on. But another thing is the pointer trails. Now I don't really like this, and the reason I don't like this is because if it's moving around constantly, I almost start to feel physically sick. It's like kind of a dizziness or whatever reason. I'll just show you here. Look, to me now that it actually, if I'm looking at that for a long time, it leaves me a little bit disoriented, or you feel a little bit like vertigo or something. It's an odd sensation, like motion sickness or something. But anyway, I don't like that, so I searched for something else, and that was PointerFocus. It's really good. It has several options. The one I'm using here, this green circle around the pointer, is this one here, and that's a highlight. Now it does have spotlight, which darkens the screen, and you can move around. You see it highlights a portion of the screen. I don't really use that. Keystrokes, again, I don't use that, but if you press the key, it'll show it. You can't really see it there, but here we go. I press control. I don't like that either. It's no use to me. It might be to some people. Pen, another thing, I don't really need a pen for anything, so I don't use that. This is a magnifier. Again, Windows does have a magnifier, and you can set options or set settings for all of these things. Here's settings. Within here you can see my I'll just close this window. You can see my highlight cursor. I have it set to green. Now some people set it to yellow. I prefer green. I don't know why. Just do. It has a really nice feature here too, especially for these video recordings. So if I left click, it puts a red circle. If I right click, a blue circle. You see that? That's not really useful to me apart from using these videos, which incidentally this video recording software has a similar feature. So, but anyway, main thing I find useful here is the circle to highlight. So if I set the highlight, see, I can have it as a complete circle as opposed to just like a ring around it. So That's PointerFocus. Really good. Now the next tool I use, if you're manipulating a lot of files, which as an estimator you will be, you'll be downloading files, moving files to folders to stay organized, and what you might have is a situation like this. I'll just show you. Okay, so you'll have File Explorer windows open like this. Now what you might notice about these windows that's different is that it has tabs. Now Windows itself doesn't have tabs, but I've downloaded a piece of software called QTTabBar. So Q for quick, T for tango, tab as in tabs, bar as in a bar chocolate. So QTTabBar. I'll put links to these two applications down below in the description. So yeah, so some features of this, you can skip to folders without having to close them, without having to go back through or back up through folders. This is something I'm surprised Windows doesn't have already. I mean, it would make Windows so much better to have tabs in its File Explorer windows. I mean, you see tabs in browsers these days for that very same reason. People don't want 20 browser windows open on their desktop. It's good to have it all in one. So rather than have 3 of these, and if I want to copy this to here like that, now when I'm copying lots of files I have to jump from one window to the other. It can be a bit of a nuisance. So instead what I have is one single File Explorer window, and I have my QTTabBar here. Now some features with QTTabBar, what I like is that you can lock tabs. So these two tabs have a little padlock symbol there. That means they're locked. So if I want to open another tab, let's say I want to go down into one of these folders, what it does is it opens a new folder because this one is locked. And that's handy because it always stays in downloads, so I don't have to keep going back up. If I go down into one of these folders, I don't have to go back up to downloads. Now it's simple to use. I can right click and I can close a tab, and right click again and close this one. Say I want to open a new one, I can click on any of these windows down here with my middle mouse button. Now you can set that control, but I have it set to my middle mouse button, my roller, and I can just click on that and it'll open a new window based on the folder I clicked on, and I think that's a great feature. Now if I want to open another window, I can simply just click on the middle button on there and it'll just duplicate that. That's brilliant. Now again, if I'm here and I want to close all those and they're just being a nuisance, I can close right, close everything on the right. I could do it on the left here, but they're locked, so it won't actually close them, if you see. Now again, this has lots of features, but I find it's very handy to be just able to skip from one folder to another. I might be working 2 or 3 estimates at any one time, and I have a folder open for each. And that way I can just click on the tab and I'm there, click back to where I was, say it was downloads folder. So it's really very handy for that. So that's pretty much it. The other thing is to find settings for QTTabBar. You can right click on the tab bar itself and go into options. Now it has lots of options. I won't go through them all, there are too many, but you can set new tab location. It'll open on the right. You can tell it to open it on the most left, most right, just to the right of the one you're on, just to the right of the one left of the one you're on, and so forth. So you can also set the, like I said, the button. Anyway, I won't go through all those. You can actually get plugins for it too, I see there. So basically, just to let any estimators out there who are constantly opening and closing Windows File Explorer windows and folders and files on your computer, this is very handy to have. As you know, as an estimator, you'll have lots of software open anyway. You could have a web browser to access your download of your files. You'll have a Windows File Explorer open. You will have your estimating software, maybe Excel spreadsheets. You'll have lots of software. In future videos, I think it might be a good idea to go through some important file management tips and tricks too, because there are a lot of guys out there, and surprisingly, while they are managing quite a lot of files, they don't seem to have any particular system for doing so. I've seen guys with pretty much every single file in one single folder, or files thrown all over their desktop, and when it comes to find anything then they can't. So that's something I'd like to go through, some file management in Windows, just how to organize your files. Backups, very important to have reliable backups, both of your working system, your computer, your operating system, and also your files and your file systems as you make changes, that they're backed up to. Also backups of your databases if you're using an estimating software, things like that. Now PDF drawings are another area I'd like to go through, because as an estimator sometimes we get, well, a lot of times we get architecture drawings, so you could get one PDF and there could be 200 pages, 200 drawings in that one PDF. So what you have to do is extract those and name them. Now surprisingly enough, a lot of guys do this by hand, do this manually. So they go through each PDF and put in the drawing number and the drawing title, drawing by drawing, which is a lot of work. I've seen guys waste hours and hours and hours every week doing just this. That's madness. There are tools out there to do that automatically. Also combining PDFs, sometimes you need to combine them. If you want to search a bunch of PDFs, it's a good idea to combine them, and you can search for particular terms or phrases, stuff like that I'd like to go through. Takeoff and pricing, so how to do your quantity takeoff and how to input your pricing, how to use templates as well for doing that so that you're not duplicating your work. I have dedicated estimating software here, but the thing with that software is quite expensive. Now it's well worth it, because there really isn't anything out there that compares to it. It just works really well. I might do a review of that. And I already mentioned backups. Renaming of files. So again, I could automatically rename 200 drawings, but say there's something within that name, say there's a bunch of 50 of those, and I want to shorten a portion of the name. Have a tool for doing that too. In one single batch it'll rename. If I want to pull out certain characters, I can do that. If I want to add certain characters in, I can do it all within a batch. Very quick, very easy, save hours of manually doing it. So there are many other tricks. Also maybe how to help your eyes to stay fresh, not to get so tired. There are things you can do. Maybe some people are putting up with eye strain, but yeah, there are tricks and techniques for dealing with that too. So maybe in the future I'll go through something like that.